Hello everyone, my name is Jasper Linford. I'm a student of MA English Literature at Loyola College, Chennai. And today I'm going to be presenting a seminar on the topic non-binary gender. So let's get started. So firstly, I would like to answer the question of what is gender identity and how does it differ from biological sex. So basically, gender identity is nothing but how a person feels inside and how they express their gender through uh, dressing, through behavior, and through personal appearance. And a lot of people think that gender is the same as sex, and this is actually not at all true. So, gender is more of a socially constructed idea. It is a set of characteristics that men and women have, and it differs from society to society. And sex is more of a biological and physiological phenomenon or a set of characteristics that can be explained in terms of chromosomes, hormones, genital organs, etc. Next, let's get into the core topic, which is non-binary gender. So, non-binary gender it refers to a gender identity um, which is neither completely male nor completely female, and it does not conform to the common idea of male female binary. Then we can take a short look at the chronology of how this concept came to be and how it was understood. So in 1980s, we have certain activists who were using the term genderqueer, especially Ricky Ann Wilkins. She used it in her 1995 essay. And in the 1990s, we also have the prominent gender theorist and philosopher Judith Butler, who wrote the book Gender Trouble. And in this, she questioned the naturalness and exclusive dichotomy of the male female binary. And we also have something called International Day for Non-Binary People. It is celebrated every year on July 14th, and it was started by Katje van Loom. And looking at the non-binary community, it's actually not at all a homogeneous group. It's a very heterogeneous, it's a very diverse group of people. For instance, there are some people who are non-binary who identify as a third gender. There are people who are identifying as multiple genders, and there are certain others who have fluctuating gender identity. So it's a very, very diverse group of people. Next, I'd like to talk about gender roles. So, what is a gender role basically? So, a gender role is how society expects people to speak, act, dress, groom, and so on. And we can actually look at how society influences the understanding of gender roles and expectations. So, since a very young age, society tells us how to act based on our gender. For instance, when a baby is born, based on the gender, the toys will be given. If it's a boy, car, bike, gun. If it's a girl, Barbie doll, kitchen set, and other toys like that. And it doesn't end there. Once the child grows, there will be certain other aspects like behavior, career choice, and personality, which will be kind of imposed on the child based on the gender. If you're a boy, you have to be like this. If you're a girl, you have to be different, and so on. Next, let's look at some of the common stereotypes that people associate with non-binary people. So one is that they are just doing it for attention, which is not at all true. They're just doing it to come to terms with their own identity, to accept themselves as who they are, and for also to others to accept them as who they are. Second thing is that it's just a phase and they're just confused and so on. So it's not true. This is also false because it's not just a phase, it's part of their identity, it's part of who they are, and it won't just go away after some time. They have to come to terms with it. And next, there's also the misconception that non-binary people are doing it as a political statement, that they want to dismantle the gender binary and so on. It is not at all. This is also not at all true because they just want to live their life. They just want to be accepted as how they are, and they're not at all concerned about making political statements or making political moves. Next, let's look at how cultures understand the non-binary gender and how they perceive it. So first, let's look at Mesopotamian culture. So in Mesopotamian culture, there's this goddess called Ishtar, and Ishtar had the power of changing someone's gender. And also, when you look at the sacrificial rituals associated with her, there were references to non-binary people getting involved in such rituals. Secondly, looking at Indian culture, in Indian culture, there's something called Hijra community, and Hijra community involves intersex people, eunuchs, and transgenders, and so on. So these people were existing and they were coexisting with the rest of the people since the ancient times. And in post independence India, they were given legal and official recognition by the Supreme Court in 2014. And looking at the challenges faced by non-binary people, one is discrimination. So whenever a non-binary person comes out, or when they reveal that they are non-binary, people just have a negative opinion, they have a kind of stereotype, and they will be discriminated, they might be discriminated against for being different and so on. Next is misgendering. A lot of people intentionally do this, they intentionally misgender the non-binary people to like provoke them, to irritate them, and so on. We also have the problem of language and terminology. When you look at our entire language system, it's based on the assumption that there are only two genders, and this causes a lot of problem for people who do not fall under this binary. And another problem is the lack of safe spaces. Like safe spaces, it's a very new concept, at least in India. So because of the lack of safe spaces, like the non-binary people don't have like a safe and free environment in which they are welcomed and in which they can just be themselves. I would also like to talk about the legal provisions that are introduced by governments around the world in favor of non-binary people. So the first is Australia. Australia was the first Western country to recognize that there is a third gender outside of male and female. Then India, when you look at the Indian context, since 2014, the third gender is recognized, and they are given official and legal recognition by the Supreme Court of India. And third country is Argentina. So Argentina was the first South American country to give recognition for non-binary people. And when you look at their national ID card, it includes non-binary as a third option. Next, we have so the last topic, but not the least, is what can LGBTQ plus allies do to support the cause and rights and well-being of LGBTQ plus individuals. So the first one is very simple. It's basically spreading awareness, because there's a lot of misconceptions, a lot of false information floating around about LGBTQ plus individuals. So it is very important that we as allies kind of do our best to debunk the myths and dispel the misinformation. Next, I think we can form organizations uh, consisting of LGBTQ plus allies at school level or at college level or at any level to create awareness, to work at the ground level to support LGBTQ plus individuals, and to just advocate for their rights and so on. Next, we can also, let's say, be careful in when addressing them. So I think a good rule of thumb would be to just ask them directly in a polite and respectful way, like, how would you like to be addressed? What are your personal pronouns? So that we do not misgender them. So this is a much better approach than just guessing or just assuming what their pronouns might be, what their gender might be. And finally, this is more of an uh, institutional change, but I think this will be a very huge uh, change in favor of the non-binary people and in favor of LGBTQ plus people. So this is introducing gender studies as a mandatory subject at the school level and at the college level for all people, and it should be a mandatory course. And this will help to debunk the myths. This will help to uh, open up the minds of the people, help to let's say dispel many of the false informations which are there, sadly. And that's all, folks. I hope I've created awareness about this particular topic, then I have uh, helped you learn uh, some useful information about this particular topic. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. That's it. Until next time, peace out.